Hi, I'm Peter Cowan, the Bee Whisperer. Having just done a video the other day, yesterday, about moving hives from one yard to another, I wanted just to post this this video that we did for our mentorship group, Beekeeping 24/7, where earlier this week we moved a hive within the same yard, because there's a big difference between moving hives from one location to another location more than a mile or two away. When you've done that, there's no interaction. The bees don't find the old location, so they're not going to be tempted to fly back to the original location. When you have to move a hive within the same yard, it's much more complicated because the bees know where they live. And in this video, we're helping one of our Beekeeping 24/7 mentees with moving hive, having a look at his location up in the hills here in Maine, talking to him about the various things like his bear fence and that sort of stuff. But primarily, what I wanted to show you was the difference of moving a hive within a yard and how you make sure that the bees who know that they only lived 10, 20 yards away, how to convince them to stay in the new location, because it's a very different prospect. So we'll show you that little clip now.
Hey everybody. So today we are here in the hills of Dedham, Maine. This is a whole different type of landscape than what we've shown you before. And we're here with one of our Beekeeping 24/7 members, John. We're at his residence. And today we're going to talk about moving hives, locating your hives, where to best place your hives. So we've got some hive that's already established. We're going to be moving that today, and we're also going to be talking about location and landscape.
Yeah, so John successfully got his bees through the winter last year, and we've got a modest size cluster in there. We're going to try not to open them and disturb them more than we need to. We're going to just move the whole unit in one go. And after we leave, John's going to put his bear fence back up, because we do have critters around here. So what we're going to do, the problem about moving a beehive is that the bees know that's where they live. And so they've orientated themselves, and they've flown several times this year already. So they know that's where they live. So what we have to do, if we're moving a hive from there to over there where that little gravel bed is, now this is about 80 feet apart, and the bees will tend to have trouble finding their own that colony unless they do a new reorientation. They would not, if they go straight out of the hive and fly, they'll fly back to where they remember the hive to be, which is over there. But we're going to play a little trick on them, and we're going to put all sorts of obstacles in their way so that when they first come out of the hive, they realize, what the heck has gone on? Because we're going to put all sorts of branches and things in front of the hive so that they have to do they realize something's changed, so they're going to reorientate themselves to the new location. Now, it still will mean that some of the bees are going to fly back there, because we won't convince all of them that they've moved, but what they're going to be is they're going to be flying around for the next few days, trying to figure out where to go. And the weather is now getting a little bit better. So the bees that fly out in the cold might have difficulty. But we've got warmer weather coming, so there'll be more bees will be flying out Thursday, Friday. It's going to be a bit better, considerably warmer, so they'll have time to find their way back to the hive. You don't want to plan to do a move like this on the day you're having a barbecue, because the bees will be a little irritable, because they're looking for their new home, or where home has gone. But we're close enough and with those obstacles in front of the hive, I'm sure we'll have no problem with the bees finding where the new hive is. And in terms of looking where they're going to be, this is going to be a slight improvement on where they are right now. Right now, they get lots of sun. South is this way, so they'll get sun virtually all day here. So this was very good for sun, but not quite as good for windbreaks, because dominant wind is going to come from this direction. There's trees over there, so it's not too bad. But we're up in the hills, and so wind can be pretty darn strong here.
Yeah, it was.
So being over in this location, we're going to be much nearer the windbreaks. So predominant winds from the south and west, those are going to be sheltered from. And what we'd probably recommend for John in the winter time is, and John's already doing it there, he's making a little windbreak fences around most of this area. And so they'll be even sheltered from the north there. They're going to be quite near a windbreak. And with windbreaks, they don't necessarily have to be solid. In fact, they're better if the wind can get through them to some extent, because otherwise the wind, if this is the windbreak, it doesn't go like that. What it'll do is it'll go up and down and blast the top of the hive. So by having a broken windbreak, the wind filters through and doesn't come down and sort of blast freeze on the other side. So this should be pretty darn good.
All right. All right. So we're going to get started here. And once again, here are the benefits of being the camera person. No heavy lifting for me.
So they come right up and then they do floats. Yep. Yeah. Okay, so we'll not hug our shoals. Okay. So this could be amusing because we're going to move it with the feeder in place. And so if we get soaked, Amy will be laughing. You'll know what.
I will. Yes.
But
I wouldn't do that.
I'm going to suggest that we go from this side to side.
What's that stone by your feet, guys?
Okay. I'm going to have to all back out.
Here they come. Girls are like, what is going on?
Maybe you can explain how, because it's cold,
Yes.
the bees are all in the house.
They are all inside right now. It's pretty cold here today. It's chilly, wet, damp, and gray. So everybody's inside, so we're not going to have a whole bunch of field bees that are out foraging right now that are going to come back to the old location. Pretty much everybody's tucked inside. And right now they're kind of peeking out a little bit, wondering what's going on. I don't see many, not a whole lot coming out. So far, so good.
Face east.
Now the only benefit to this base is that it has the adjustments
Leveling
on it.
legs.
Yeah. Which, because it was on a hill, I can take full advantage of.
I usually catch my breath. Yeah, the other way.
I had a feeling I was doing it the wrong direction.
Okay,
Make it a little
and
quicker.
now, what we want to do is disguise the colony.
That's right. So like Peter said before, once these girls start coming out to do forage, they're going to wonder where the heck they are. So these sticks that we're going to lay up is going to be like a barrier. They'll have to navigate their way through these sticks and come out. And when they do that, they'll have to reorientate themselves to their hive.
I'll put half around the other side. Now when they come out of the hive, they're not going to recognize the place. So they'll go, what the heck? And they're going to do a lot of orientation flights here. And that way, they'll realize, okay, we're now a lot closer to these trees and the shed, and there's nothing over there anymore. But we'll still see traffic over there for a little while. But this is going to really improve the number of bees that find home with no problem. The ideal, of course, is you put the hive where you want it to be in the first place. But if you have to move, this is the sort of precaution you should do. And even more sticks and more leaves and that sort of thing will make it even more easier for the bees to realize they have to reorientate themselves. But this should do the job quite nicely, as long as the wind doesn't blow them all down.
All right.
Looking now we've got good shelter from this side. Still really good sunlight will shine on the hive here. The sun will rise over the hill here. It'll be in the sun all day until late in the afternoon, which is good. If you're going to choose between morning sun and evening sun, you always want that morning sun.
So that'll warm your hive up a lot quicker. The girls will get out and forage that much faster.
So John, what other questions did you have? I would say that you could move these sticks after they've flown for a couple of days.
Okay.
So by Sunday you should be good. Okay.
All right. So
Now, an inexpensive electric fence. See another solar energizer electric fence,
Yeah.
new, $300 and something, $330 or so.
Yeah.
But for $100 you get one that you can plug into the house, and it'll be equally as strong. It may not, it won't run during a storm and that sort of thing, but that would be the least expensive way to alternative method. Okay.
Yep.
And what was the ownage that I should be looking for?
Right. So what it is well, I'll just introduce it.
Okay.
In Maine, we get a lot of bears, and John took the precaution of putting electric fence around the hive, which is excellent because he already had, before he had the electric fence, had a bear tip the
visitor.
hive over. And clearly this had a deterrent because it didn't come back.
Yes.
But as a general rule, what you want is an electric fence that has one, I don't know what the term is for joules, but it's a 1 joule electric fence. This one is a 0.15. So if the bear would have recognized this as an electric fence, because he'll come across electric fences, but he may not be powerful enough to stop a determined bear at all. So something with a joule of 1 or 2 or 3 would be better. So, but it's been a deterrent,
Yeah.
so it's been a start.
It's been good so far.
Yep. In terms of your colony did well going through the winter.
It did.
And despite the fact that you struggled for the colony to build it.
did she get you?
1 second, did you film me?
No, she didn't.
Okay.
She didn't.
The
I was watching her on yours. I was like,
just
maybe we should
another
go do this.
landing point. That's okay, good. We don't want to have our first casualty on
On video, no.
veil comes back.
It's dangerous being
There we
around
go.
Peter.
There we go. That's right. What were we talking about?
Talking about the queen struggling.
Right, yeah. Now, despite the fact that your hive struggled to build up a population last year,
Yeah.
they made it through the winter, which is really good. So apart from the vigorousness with which the queen was laying, they seemed good and healthy.
Yeah.
So, but this year your plan is to replace that queen, to have one that's going to build up a colony faster, which makes sense. Maybe 1 in 10 queens, 1 in 20 queens will not be good right from the start. She may not produce a large enough population to produce a big surplus of honey. This was large enough to produce a colony that survived the winter, but what we want to do is look to replace the queen this year with one that's probably going to give us a more rapid build-up.
Yeah.
So we'll touch on that later in the spring.
Okay.
But the way in the future would go about that is you find the original queen, take her out, and just as a precaution, what I like to do rather than kill her, if there's a good reason to kill her because she was producing violent offspring, a really aggressive hive. If there's an aggressive hive, I'd kill the queen right away. But on a colony, when we're replacing a queen like this, what I tend to do is take a frame of brood out as they've built up a bit, and keep that going as a backup in a little nuke box, and keep her going for a little while whilst you're in the process of replacing her. And so then you take a caged queen who's unrelated to the bees in the hive, and you'll put that into the hive right away and let the bees work their way through the candy so that the queen gets released after a few days. And in fact, in an established colony, what I tend to do is not take the cork out of the candy end for the first day or two. Keep the cage in there, keep them with queen pheromones, but it's new smell. After a couple of days, I take the cork out, so then it takes 2 or 3 more days for the queen to get out of the cage. It's just like a different version of how you'd treat a package of bees.
Right.
Okay.
And once you see that she's laying and producing, then you can do what you want with the other queen. But if they killed her straight away, if they didn't produce any brood, which they should do within a day or 2 of emerging, you've still got your fallback position. So you've got your emergency queen there to fall back on until you can work out the best way of introducing her. There's a lot of ways of introducing queens to hives that are reluctant to accept a new queen. But we'll not make it more complicated than it needs to be. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. I hope you found that helpful. I'm Peter Cowan, the Bee Whisperer. See you next time.